Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back today with the founder and president of Critical Thinking for Success, the one, the only, Robert Kauffman, but we call him Bob most of the time. Welcome back, Bob. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, and it's always a pleasure to have someone here with such an amazing, smart mind. This man is extremely talented. If you don't know him yet, you're going to get to know him today. His consulting, his training, and his backstory. I mean, this man really can help. So let's talk a little bit about what you do to some of the people out there who have yet to meet Mr. Bob Kauffman.
Well, my purpose is teaching people to love themselves, appreciate just who they are and how magnificent they are. Because I find if people really begin to believe that, they will treat others that way too. So, and I work with helping people get their brain working really well and get their brain and heart working together so that they're successful in their life. And so I work with students, I work with parents, I work with individuals and couples, I work with business, athletes, and I've actually trained Marines also.
Wow.
So that's some of the things I do.
Great. And did you have any insight into today's show? Was there a specific area of focus? I mean, I know you help so many people in so many different ways, including the neurofeedback, consulting, and training. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different modalities you use, but just curious if you had something in mind in particular.
Well, I thought I'd give you a choice today.
Oh, what are my choices?
Well, I can talk about the basic training of children. I can talk about the major breakdowns in business, where do those occur? And I can also talk about really stress and what how people hold that. And there are several different areas of that.
Wow.
So what would you like me to talk
well,
about?
Look, being the fact that I'm a parent of a 4- and 6-year-old right now, and raising children is hard, and you have that expert mind, I'd like to focus a little more on that, but also that relates to your stress topic too, because it can be stressful. So please, I would love to start with the first topic today. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we do not serve parents very well because we don't prepare them for this incredible job. Because talk about complex job. Being a parent is one of the most complex jobs in the world. And here you have I call it the first 18 years are basic training.
Okay.
That you're
military, like you're training your Marines. Okay.
Right. So you're really training a child to be able to become a successful adult who can stand on his or her own feet and be successful in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And most parents get maybe training on how to change a diaper or put in a car seat. But beyond that, it's sort of like you're thrown in the water and expected to swim.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
And children are busy as they get going. They're busy trying to train the parent to have the parent do what they want, rather than the parent training the child on, hey, these are certain things you need to learn.
Yeah.
Now, one of the if you look at, well, what do you want them to be when they're off to college? Well, self-discipline is a crucial skill. Can I discipline myself to, keep a schedule? Can I discipline myself to do the work I need to do? Can I be able to say no to people if it's important? Can I manage money? All these things are skills that children need to learn. And in our society today, we have oftentimes parents do too much for their children, and they don't train them to take on responsibilities at home and follow through on things and so forth. So getting children really able to do things and know that they can do things well is very important. And lots of parents want to love their children, and they think doing for the children is what is really important. But no, it's helping the child know that they can do things for themselves. And it can start as little as getting up in the morning and getting ready for the day without mom or dad having to help them.
My 4-year-old, the second one, I try to get him to put on his clothes every morning, and he's still learning. The 6-year-old did that when he was 3 by himself. Everyone learns at a different pace, but
Right.
the look in his eyes about how proud he is when he does it says something.
Yeah.
And he
Right.
tries it every day, even though he might get it wrong. But I see
Right.
it, I believe it, and you're right. Got to make them a little independent early on.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And anytime you do something for somebody that they can do for themselves, you're really undercutting their self-confidence and knowing how life works. So, helping children gradually build their jobs, including, getting up, going to bed at night, keeping their room clean, and so forth. So parents being able to model what they do, breaking it down into very basic steps, help the children begin. Pretty soon they'll know how to do it, and they do it well. And this includes like being able to cook, being able to clean up the kitchen, being able to help if you have a lawn, to being able to cut grass, all kinds of things. Plus knowing how to play games, not just video games, but board games and physical games with other kids or whatever.
I broke out the chutes and ladders the other day. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
These days they like those video games. Everything in moderation, but go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. To keep screen time limited. It's not don't have it, but keep it limited.
Yeah.
And I had a mother that I was working with who, she was a doctor. She had these 2 kids that she just spoiled. I mean, she did everything for them. And I was training her to be a cognitive coach, because she was sensitive to chemicals and couldn't really do her practice anymore. So I trained her in neurofeedback and cognitive coaching, and she got trained in other things. She's quite a good, talented person. But I said, your first clients are your 2 kids.
How did that go?
And well, at first the kids were upset because now she's expecting them to do things when before they had her well trained.
Yeah.
And but they got through the upset, and now they're the daughter recently graduated from high school and came to her and said, "Mom, I don't always agree with you, but you are a good mom. I'm able to do all kinds of things that none of my friends are able to do, and they seem so simple." And I'm training somebody who's a college counselor, helps kids make it through college. And we talk about is that these children come to college and they fall apart because they don't know how to operate independent of their family, who would always, take care of them and whatever. And so many of them flame out. And she says, everybody's depressed and anxious. Well, it's mainly because they don't know how to live their life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big area. And I see adult children that are still being taken care of by their parents. The oldest one is, I had this 83-year-old mother come in with her 52-year-old daughter, and the mother was still taking care of the daughter.
Oh.
I was ready. I said, well, this is ridiculous.
Get the scissors. Let's cut this cord now.
But it is, to be a good parent requires lots of patience, lots of skill, and certainly getting support in looking at all the different things kids need to learn.
Yeah.
And we learn them through somebody modeling for us and supporting us, and then saying, hey, you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Believing in somebody. And if you are there and you see that they would be capable of doing this, and you do it for them, that's a problem. If you say, look, this is how you do it, I know you can do it, I believe in you, that really makes a difference.
Yeah. But not everybody has that type of parent
No,
around, or, family members. But it
right.
would be smart to have someone with a very critical mind for success, who can guide you through this. And sometimes you need that because kids sometimes don't want to listen to their family, their
That's
parents.
right.
So to have an outside source come in and take control of the situation, they will respect you a lot more. Sometimes, do you work with children directly, or is it usually the parents through the children?
Well, what I often do is I work with the parent and child. I have the child in and I train the parent to be the coach.
Got
I
it.
had I had this one attorney come in with his son who was 14, and I'm I'm training the father in how to coach the child and everything. And after one or two sessions, the father comes in and says, he won't let me coach him. And I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. I said to the son, I said, because I knew the son played hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when you play hockey, do you listen to your coach? And he said, yeah. I said, well, your dad is your coach. You chose him by coming into this family. You chose him as a coach. Your dad has 30 years on you. He runs a whole law firm. He's very smart. He's a very coach. You need to listen to him. And then I said to the dad, look, you are his coach. You chose it by having this boy. You chose to be his coach, and you need to be training him. And I said, uh, it's not a matter, will he let you? It's going to happen. I said, I don't want to hear this again, or I'll kick both your
But
butts.
I love it. Tough love, Bob
And,
Buffett. I think
and
it's
then a couple of weeks later, the son comes in and says, boy, my dad's a good coach. And it was, now that son has graduated from a major university very successfully, has gotten his master's in big data or whatever, and is very successful in his career.
see.
But it is getting the parents knowing that their job isn't just to be a friend of this, it's to train them. And so, so I work with parents and children. When they get up to 17, 18, if they're mature enough, I'll work with the child directly. But before that, I want to work with the parent and the child together.
Got it.
And because they need this coaching every day, not just once a week or something like that.
Yeah, see, my mother, when she was alive, she was what I call an enabler. And I think a lot of parents are enablers. And
Yes,
before you coach them,
absolutely.
and you must talk to them about that, because my brother was in trouble since he was 12, 13 in school, not listening, then not doing well in school, then getting into drugs. But did Anthony ever really get disciplined? No, he got more toys, more. If I give more, he's going to be better. Yes, you could do that. Yes, you could say out with your friends, oh, yes, here's this, here's that. Not that we had a lot of money, but mom would focus on him, the problem child. And I, as the youngest, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Mom,
Right,
he's doing drugs. You take his bed, his clothes, belongings, you put them on the lawn. She never did it. Now, fast forward, she passed away 4 years ago. He's 45. Nothing has changed. And
right,
not to blame it on my mom, but I just felt that she could have nipped it in the bud. And, but
right.
she also didn't have my father's support because he was out there. But still, it's like, unfortunately, sometimes parents can't do this. And you have children that are going to grow up like this and never change. And I wish I could get like my brother to someone like you. But boy, oh boy, that'd be a lot of sessions. But it's super important, just stories like that. If any parents are out there watching and listening, you're not doing them good by enabling. My family's a prime example of it. And I'm sure Bob would attest to that and agree with me the harm that it does.
It does. It does terribly. I mean, I just see adults, children that can't function, and then it creates a hostile dependence. Not only are they dependent and everything, but part of them's really angry because they have never gained self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
And so helping children have self-discipline, concentration, optimism, all these are all trained. I had a 3.5-year-old girl come in with her family, and she was running the family. And she was in the meeting, she said to me, "I am the queen." And she ran the family. I mean, it's like, I couldn't believe it. I said,
It's so cute, but it's not, but I get it. Yeah. So how did that go?
I mean, she already knew, I'm in charge here, hey, you better watch out because I'm in charge. So it's amazing that, and then we have people take driver's ed so they don't kill each other on the highway, but we don't do really good parent education, which would really help solve a lot of this, so the parents know what they're doing. They're usually going to do either what their parents did or the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Now, what happened to this little girl who said she was the queen? Can you give me some insight? Did things get better?
Not really. The mom was also somebody who just was babied, and she was babying her baby. And as I pointed out, the things that need to be done, she stopped making appointments.
Yeah.
And so you can't, it's like, they were, and then the husband put up with it.
Yeah.
So
let's talk in 10 years, see if he gets frustrated with it. Sorry, we're not talking names, but that's interesting. Okay, well, it happens, and it's not for everyone, but that poor little girl, because she's in for a awakening in school, college. It's no way to be.
Yeah, I see it all the time, and it's having children, really have confidence. And a lot of parents don't know it, but that when they really support their children to learn and grow, and they become independent, there's an ironic thing. The child gets closer to the parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that they can't be independent, but they like the relationship, and it becomes a very solid relationship. And a lot of parents, I think, are afraid if they get too independent, they won't be around and they won't like me. But the truth is, if you really support somebody, they're going to want to be with you because it feels good to be with you.
Yeah, the importance of today's conversation is, for sure, to start this at a young age, this training at a young age. And wow, absolutely. My oldest son, who's 6, extremely independent, from getting dressed, from brushing his teeth to, I mean, you might think this is odd, but he calls me Jill. When he wants something, he calls me mommy, which is rare. He's very good, but he realized he's like, everyone has a mommy, but not everybody has a Jill. I'm like, you are correct. So I don't mind you calling me Jill. He's very smart. And it's very cute. People think, is this your son? Or, and I'm like, no, it's my son. But very independent, to the point where, he's in a cast right now, and he had this arm reset 2 days ago. And he tells me yesterday morning when he woke up, we were in the hospital till 1 a.m, I want to go to school today. I'm like, excuse me, you just broke your radius, you shattered it, and you have a cast on, and we went to bed at 1:30, but I want to go to school. And I said, look, we have to see the orthopedic today because it was a bad break. But you want to go back to school the next day? Okay. This morning he got up, I want to go to school. And they suggest it's not the best scenario. He should wait till he's in a hard cast. But okay, independent, go ahead. But you realize you risk a chance of hurting yourself again. Need to go. So I tried to let him be independent, because most parents would have said,
Absolutely.
You're not going anywhere. You're going to break it again, which I get that. But at the same time, he's got to learn. And how I handled it when I got to that school, he had a broken bone. I run in and I'm like, congratulations, you have your first broken bone. And he was laughing and smiling. And the nurse and the teacher were like, you're the first parent that ever came in here like that. Normally they're a mess. And I'm like, no, it is what it is. This is exciting. This is an experience. We're going to make fun of it. We're going to have so much. Let's videotape it. Let's remember the moment. And he didn't cry the whole time.
Right.
It just depends. And that's another thing for parents, I think is important, right? For their mindset, because you have to, they absorb everything. So they're like sponges, they soak everything up. So what about the
Absolutely.
importance of our behaviors? It's
Absolutely.
learned. It's just learned. We have to be very careful.
Absolutely. If you want your children to enjoy their life, like themselves, enjoy yours, like yourself,
Yeah.
because kids learn through models. It's like, and parents don't realize their modeling is teaching the most.
Hmm. Yeah, very true. Yeah, very, very true.
And and I love the fact that you're creating that with him, and his independent. He's independent, but at the same time, he's communicating. He's letting you know. It's like, and Jill to him is a word of respect.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, and it's not like, oh, you should be calling me. No, he
No,
said,
no.
not everybody has a Jill.
Yep, so
Yeah.
here he is in the hospital. See his little cast on? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, hey, we just try to have a good time with it the best we can. So there, and mom and him making silly faces. It's going to be okay. Yeah. So
Good.
I'm not saying I'm a perfect parent because I am not. I'm very stressed out. So we need to talk more about the stress too next time. But we still have a few
Okay.
minutes to finish this.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if the more the parents know that they have an extremely important role,
Yeah.
and the other thing, it might seem like a long time, but the time flies by, and you got a lot to teach. So the more you can help them around all areas of their life, whether that's relationship, financial, self-care, taking care of their environment, learning to play well, learning to enjoy themselves, learning to be able to recreate well. All these things are really help them be well-rounded,
Yep.
and picking different experiences for them to have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It could be the littlest thing. You don't have to take your kids on vacation. They appreciate the going to the park, the walks around the block, the exploring the turtles in the pond, little things. Go feeding the ducks in the pond. Like it's just, I agree. They need to experience so much.
Right. One of the things, my daughter first she was older, and she ended up, this is the one that's still alive and everything. And she was in drama camp, and then did a lot. And then during the school would be in plays and everything. I loved the director because they had the kids doing everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And by the time she was in 8th grade, she was not afraid to get up in front of 1,000 people. It wasn't a problem. And then she got my son interested, and he got into play. And then in high school, they did improv Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And it really helped both of them feel confident and be creative. And they have no problem in public and
That's great.
being leaders and things like that. So even picking good things that are going to challenge them and help them with their confidence is really important.
Like I'm trying all the sports right now for my children, the soccer, the baseball.
Yep.
My little guy was crying hysterically. He hated it the first day. And I said, it's okay. We're going to get through this. We made a commitment. We're going to do it. Second time, a little better. Third time. Now he's like a pro. And I also said, if you finish the season, we'll go to the Great Wolf Lodge, which is like a fun little water park for the kids. So, just try it. Don't have to like it, but I want them to try to experience things because that's part of life.
Sure.
You have to sign up
And-
next year? No, but
And
he will want to.
and you can always tell them, look, when you want to try something, act like you can do it. I remember, I'm an old guy. I can remember when I first started playing baseball, they had to put me in at least one inning or something, put me out in right field. I didn't know how to play. And the first batter hits a fly ball to right field. They were hoping nobody hit out there. And I was thinking, what am I supposed to do? And by the time I figured it out, the guy had a home run. But I wanted to play so badly, I kept acting like a baseball player. And then pretty soon I was really efficient. I knew I was a baseball player. And, so getting people involved and say, look, try it out. You might not like it at first, but give it some chance, and then learning to play on a team with other people is very important.
More
Yeah.
camaraderie, getting along and not getting along, and seeing others win, others lose. It's super important for sure. Yeah.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
this time, unfortunately, Rob, we must get to the end of the show. And if you
Uh,
don't mind sharing your best form and all forms of contact, I'd appreciate it.
I am Bob Kauffman with Critical Thinking for Success. My website is criticalthinkingforsuccess.com. And my number is 847-845-0422.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Pleasure speaking with you. And I got to go take my, see, I put a little puppet on my hand, like a tattoo to go.
That's great.
Cheer the little guy up a bit. Thank you for understanding. I got to go get the little guy now.
Okay.
But you have a fantastic day, Bob. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Talk to you next
all
week.
Our listeners, stay tuned. More the show is on the way. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.